You're watching election 2019 coverage from WBONtv.com.
Mike Harmon is looking to maintain his seat in the 2019 elections. Harmon was first elected in November 2015 as the 47th auditor for the Commonwealth. Prior to being elected as auditor, Harmon served in the Kentucky House of Representatives for 13 years in the Kentucky General Assembly, representing the people of Boyle and Casey counties. Auditor Harmon says one of the main goals is his desire to make government more transparent in his role. He also said in his 2-minute sit-down that his office seeks to make sure that all 120 county governments in Kentucky, as well as local governments, are as efficient and ethical as possible.
This is not my first time. Of course, I'm the incumbent. Prior to that, I was 13 years in the Kentucky General Assembly, and also ran for Lieutenant Governor with Phil Moffitt in 2011. What we do is we help governments, both county governments and state governments, be as efficient, effective, and ethical as possible. A lot of what we do is what's known as statutory audits on financial statements. We go and we take a look at their financial statements and we compare them, and we do, testing to make sure that, one, they're following the laws as written, and then we're also looking just to make sure that there's not any type of criminal activity. For instance, I even discussed it today, the event that I was at. We talked about Jackson County, how the treasurer had kind of written herself an additional $114,000 worth of checks, and we found that, turned that over to the FBI, and they've since found a little bit additional. We do about 600 audits a year, and I jokingly say that our office is kind of like the fellow that invented the corduroy pillow. We've been making a lot of headlines here lately. So, from the standpoint of we've done a whole lot. We have some of the ones that have got a lot of the press is like AOC, the Administrative Office of the Courts, first ever external audit, of the Administrative Office of the Courts, the judiciary system. Some of the, we had 20 findings. Probably the one that was probably the most egregious, they had actually leased space for one of the justices. Turns out it was owned by his 2 sons, and it turns out that it was 3 times the next closest bid, with really not a lot of explanation as to why. We did Kentucky Wired, where I talk about how we went from a $30 million investment of the taxpayers. Governor Beshear on the way out flipped the script on the taxpayers to where now it's $1.5 billion obligation of the taxpayers for 30 years worth of availability payments on a network that's right now about 2.5 years past the project agreement, and with no data being streamed out of it currently. We've worked very hard, and of course our work is not done. There's still a lot of items we do. I jokingly said, unfortunately it's probably true, when I first got in there, when it comes to waste, fraud, and abuse, it's a target-rich environment. But one of the things I always tell our auditors when we came in is that we don't target anyone, we don't give anybody a pass, we just simply follow the data. My message to the voters is, I believe we've done an exceptional job. Certainly we're always open to tips of waste, fraud, or abuse at auditor.ky.gov. And you can find out a whole lot more. That's our actual auditor's website, but if you want to find out about the campaign and items, you can go to mikeharmon.com. And obviously follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and see all the great work we've done.
You're watching election 2019 coverage from WBONtv.com.